Zehra and the flight was from Karachi to Singapore, and then Singapore to Vancouver, and I was 7, and it was my first plane ride. The lady 2 seats from me was bright-haired and smiled at me, and she'd wink at me, and I'd sneak a peek at her down the aisle because her hair was a color I'd never seen before, blonde. She spoke to me kindly, at least I think so, because I hadn't yet learned English, but I had learned to read smiles. Now, the strange thing is, she kept giving me pens. Ever so often, she would turn around and hand me a pen. Gel pens, ball pens, even fountain pens, and she would say something, but all I registered was that she had an impressive collection of pens. With ESL came the delightful feeling of new meanings and sounds. My T's and D's were still harsh, and I said computer in Canada. And we were constantly lost because my parents didn't know what an exit on a highway meant. And I got a lot of strange looks when I insisted that I was Asian, because I thought all those from Asia were called Asian. And though my teacher told me I was not yet ready to read the Junie B. Jones books, I still read them. By fourth grade, my T's and D's had softened, and it was not Urdu that spilled first from my mouth, but English, and that's around the time it happened. I learned I was an immigrant. When my desk group named our team the Canadians, a blonde-haired Tyler seemed confused and protested, but Zehra's not Canadian. I wasn't clever enough to ask him what made one Canadian. If one had to be indigenous to the land, then the only people of true Canadian status are the First Nations, not Tyler. Yes, I'm an immigrant from a long line of immigrants. The feet of my ancestors constantly moved from the dusty deserts of Arabia to the mountain ranges of Persia to the spicy heat of India and across the land trying to heal scars of colonialism to Pakistan. My plane ride to Vancouver was just another step. There are too many intricate connections and loyalties and histories and cultures and mixes of languages and colors to pin the hue of my skin to one land. So I will forever proudly be an immigrant if it means I am a traveler. And just like my ancestors infused my blood with movement, I will pass on this legacy to my children. I will tell them, move, go forth, because if you stay in one place for too long, your feet will move no longer. Your feet will grow thick roots until they can move no longer. So strap on your boots and move. Do not let documents and custom lines and airports define you. Do not be so partial to one color, because your own blood is a mixture of so many flavors that you'll only be betraying some part of yourself. And don't you ever complain of homesickness unless you're in outer space, because the earth is your homeland, the only nation you need to be patriotic to. And your family is every person you can speak in smiles to. Make friends with the stars so that you're never lonely. And set foot in lands you're told you're foreign to, and remind them there was a time long ago when there were no borders. And in forms, when they ask you to circle your race, always write humanity. Remember, your mother set foot in a new country with pockets full of pens long before she knew she was a writer. And just the same, you keep your pockets empty so you can fill them up with symbolism. Now, carry the name Nakvi like a backpack full of stories, and I'll be listening and making sure your feet are never still.